Welcome to Effervescent, where oh my gosh.
Just keep all this in.
Welcome to Effervescent, where we embrace a full circle approach to health. And today, like always, we're going to start out with a meditation by Kinley.
Let me actually move it up. So wherever you're at, if you can close your eyes, this one would be good, done with your eyes closed. And you can sit down to do it, or you can, if you're driving, don't do this. Just hit the fast forward button. But go ahead and close your eyes and let your body soften. And whatever's holding you up, a chair, a couch, a bed, let it hold you so much so that you don't have to hold yourself up. Because you don't. And as you're sitting here with your eyes closed, just take a moment to think about something that you really, really want. And whatever comes to your mind, just trust it. Doesn't have to be the perfect answer, just what is something that you are hoping for or wanting to achieve or wanting to experience, whether it's that trip or your relationship to look a certain way. Doesn't matter. What is that goal, that desire? And as you think about it, imagine that you're looking down at your feet. Where are your feet standing? If you have achieved that goal, where would your feet be standing? Are they standing in grass? Are they standing in the gym, in your bathroom? And just imagine that you're looking at your feet. And then feel, what does it feel like to actually have achieved that dream? Feel it in your body, the relief, the relaxing of the shoulders, the ability to take a deep breath, and possibly a slight smile because you did it. How would you breathe if you were in that moment? Take that full body breath as if you are in that moment of achieving that goal. And notice how it travels through your body on the exhale and the inhale. And then again, take another deep breath. How does that version of you stand and breathe? Feel it in your body. And then one more with a long spine and a slight smile at the corner of your mouth. Take that deep inhale. You have achieved it. And exhale, letting go of anything that stood in your way. And when you're ready, tuck your chin to your chest. Flutter your eyes open. And then lift your head back up.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's so cool and fitting for this episode because we are going to be talking about how your brain doesn't know the difference about your goals, whether you're visualizing them or it actually happens. So, and that's why meditation is so powerful. And so I wanted to focus on this for a minute because visualization and mental rehearsal are a big thing in performance psychology, and something that if you watch athletes out on the court or the field or performers, whether they're dancers or pianists or surgeons or people in the military, they are visualizing what they want the outcome to be. In order to keep going in challenging times and to get back up when you're practicing and you fall, you've got to focus on where you're going or you're just going to be lost. So I wanted to start out with this cool study that I found, and it was they took two groups of people that were piano players, and one group was able to sit and to practice, their piece over and over and over again, and then the other group visually practiced their piece over and over again. And when they took the brain scans about the outcomes of this, there was the same growth in both the people visualizing the piano piece and the people that were actually practicing. It showed that the people that were visualizing were imagining the patterns of the fingers, and so they were going faster and how it would sound. And so how awesome if you take both what Kinley was talking about the meditation, picking something where you want to go, and then imagining what can I do to start mental rehearsal and practicing that in my downtime or in other times that really affect my life. And one of the times actually, or two of the times, is when we're waking up and we're going to sleep, because our thinking brain, our prefrontal cortex, is turned off, we're more open to our just what's going on behind the scenes, and whether that's feelings or ability to visualize without our thinking brain getting in the way.
Aren't you in a different brainwave?
Yes,
It's
yes.
delta or alpha?
Theta.
Beta?
So
I don't know.
now I'm gonna maybe not get this right, but it's like hypnagogia,
Hypnagogic.
and then there's the other one, hypno something, and it sounds like that
Mm-hmm.
too. It's similar. I should have it memorized. I will when I go to
Let's
school
look it
for
up.
it.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have something to say while I look it
Well,
up?
that's what I was just gonna ask,
Yeah, right
because I
here.
know that being almost asleep and then waking up, they're really important times for stuff like what you're talking about, like visualization. That's such a hard word. Or just other parts of your life. Like that's why I think journaling in the morning or right at night is like such a good thing to do, because I think there's different. What is it called? I swear you call that hour something, that morning hour. I swear you've called it something.
I have. Well, twilight, I mean, I probably did call it something else, but in the study I was reading about, it was talking like, when you have those ahas in the middle of the day and you're like, oh, this just dropped in. There's actually studies that show that like those were things that your brain was working on in the sleep or right, and you're awake and falling asleep, and your brain was able to recall it when you needed it. But that's sometimes where your brain's actually figuring it out, because it's not your thinking brain doing it.
Your ego and your fear doesn't get in the way. I pulled up the brainwaves, and maybe we throw it up on this episode, or maybe I just say it. So gamma is the fastest on the chart, and that is your peak focus when you're like getting something done. And then beta is going to be more so you're alert and you're concentrating. And then alpha is when it more relaxes and you start to do visualization and you're more creative. And then the next one, which is called theta, that's when you're in meditation. You're more intuitive. Your memories are like surfacing. And then the last one is delta. And that one is when you're just like gone.
Yeah,
Like
sleeping.
asleep.
Yeah, probably.
Healing, actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have to, and there is a hypnagogia. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's the transition between wakefulness and sleep. So there are, the different, okay, so here it says, let's see. Stage 1 is the REM, and I'm not going to go through all the stages, but there is that special window. Let's just say there is a magical window, and I always like to say it's when the spirits talk to me.
Veil,
where it's veil. If I'm going to look at more spiritual side, when it's that liminal space where you're not in sleep, you're not in awake, and that's when really powerful things come through. But that's a great time to visualize and to have mental rehearsal on things that you care about.
I actually do this every day.
Yeah.
And that sounds like, oh, wow, I'm amazing. But like, it's way easier to do it at that time because I'm not thinking of all the things I need to be doing. Like I am falling asleep or I am waking up. And so like the brainwaves are slower. So the thought processes are slower. So I'm not like ADHD thinking about all the things I need to do. As I fall asleep, I just imagine like, what do I want tomorrow to look like? Or what do I want my life to look like? Or this trip I'm going on? And then when I'm waking up, I very much will like imagine, what do I want to do today? Even if it's not what I actually do, I still like feel like it like raises my energy when I'm focused on like dreaming or daydreaming.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you noticed this happening? Brighton, have you ever done that or noticed it?
Oh, totally. I mean, we can talk about this later, like times that I've actually used visualization for certain things. But yeah, I think I really started to pay attention to that practice when I started getting into more like Tony Robbins and stuff, because he talks about that all the time. And Joe Dispenza talks about visualization all the time. And I think, just having that little practice of, okay, maybe my day is really busy tomorrow. Maybe I have a lot to do, but how do I want that day to go? And more importantly, how do I want to feel as that day is going? Even if stuff goes wrong, it's like, what energy can I have during the day? So yeah, I totally have. Yeah.
Joe Dispenza, actually, when I read his book, Becoming Supernatural, that was the moment that like, I feel like I really started to open my mind to other options, because it was all about the studies of like people growing their muscles because one was actually working out and one was imagining working out, and they grew the same amount. And they even did a study about pinkies. pinky strength. And someone was imagining strengthening their pinky, and it actually grew more muscle just by imagining them doing like finger exercises.
Yeah. So
So cool.
this is a good place to like put this thought in. I mean, have you ever heard of mind muscle connection?
Yeah, you
'Kay.
say it.
Yeah, so that's like such a normal term in the fitness community. Like, oh, it has that really good like mind muscle connection, like focus on it. But then I don't think people realize like just how important that really could be. And I think that is kind of like funny, but it's like, yeah, if you have like muscles you want to grow, like in that exercise, even when you're physically doing the exercise, but also not, like focus on like your muscle fibers and stuff tearing down and then rebuilding stronger. Like I think that's such a important thing that people could be doing. And who knows? Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
No,
Clearly,
I
there's
really-
studies that think that it does work. So
Even
it's just
for
interesting.
me, you taught me to
Mhm.
like put my hand on the muscle I'm trying to work.
Yeah.
Or like imagine that muscle, because I'll do glute raises and it's like, okay, that was like my back and
Yeah.
my ankle,
can't-
like nothing. But then
Totally.
the second I started like focusing on my butt, then I could actually feel it. Like there really is a connection.
Yeah.
I always laugh about when we talk about butts and exercise now because, like,
I
I'd
know.
say in the 80s, it was like you wanted a flat leg, but it's just so funny how it
I
goes
just can't. I don't understand that. I don't know.
It all goes in like,
It's so interesting.
you know, your kids will be talking about how they want this flat, tiny butt, and you're gonna be like, why? Don't you want a big butt? And they're just like, ew, mom.
Yeah.
You'll see.
And I love that I always bring up butt, but it's like I can connect with my thighs, but my butt is like
No,
out of my awareness.
no, that really is actually like a big I don't want to say problem, a common issue that people have actually is they like you heard there's a term that's called quad dominance,
Yeah.
where like your quads just take over and you really can't like connect with parts of your body. And yeah, so like there is a lot of like science and talk even in the fitness community that talks about that, and like how you really need to connect it to certain parts of your body that maybe like truly, like you said, is out of your awareness.
Or my
So, like,
abs. Yeah, there's like certain
bringing
ones
it
that I'm like,
back.
sorry, I cut you off.
No,
Where I'm like,
you're
I
right.
have no idea where that is in my body, which is probably saying something about emotion too.
Yeah. It's just
Anyways.
interesting.
Yeah. No, so can you both think of it of something that you have or want to have mental rehearsal around? Like if you're going to set intention before you go to sleep and you want to start mental rehearsing or visualizing something that you want to become stronger at, is there something you want to share? Or if you've done it in the past, when has it been successful for you?
Those are two questions.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the first one.
You
but
can
the second
choose.
When have I done it in the past? Okay. Well, you know, manifestation. Like people talk about like make your list, write out every detail. And there's nuances to that because some people are specific manifestors where they like, if they write the detail, that's what they want, that's what they'll get. And then there's non-specific manifestors who it's more about the feeling. Like I'll write it out, but if I get a different car and it still feels good, then it's good. I know that's further, but I made a list and I'm a non-specific manifestor. And the way you figure it out is through your human design chart. Okay. I'm like going so many places. I made a list of like, in the future, if I ever fall in love again, this was after I was divorced, this is who I would be with. And I did not believe in it. I did not believe in you just write out the perfect man, whatever. But I did it because I was doing like a workshop with people and they were doing it. And that was the activity. I found the book after I got married. Oh my gosh. Like it actually happened. Like it was like 30 things and I think 32 or
32, that's good.
I think 2 of the 30 were like not, like I said, brown hair, and he has blonde hair, and it's like, okay, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to be specific.
Yeah.
But that mental visual like actually brought it into my life.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool.
I do love that. I think in my life, I was thinking back to little tiny things that I would do for soccer, because I played soccer all growing up, for the people that don't know, and it kind of came out of fear because I was like stressed out about the thing, but it would be like, so I played goalie, so it'd be like visualizing me grabbing the ball out of the air, like jumping out of the air and grabbing the ball, or communicating to my teammates and like it was always like the night before, especially the game, or sitting in the car and just like thinking about it. And I think that totally helped me in terms of just like playing it out in my head and how it would go. I think more recently when I was doing more interviews with with other people for my podcast, like it's always because I'm like stressed about it. So like I need to like think about it. But then I would drop in and be like, okay, what is the energy I actually want to have in this conversation? And what would they maybe be saying to me and how would I be able to respond or whatever? But this actually leads me into an interesting thought / question, and maybe you can answer this for the people also listening. Maybe they have this question too, is when is visualization, or if it is ever, a way to overthink things instead of just like feeling into it and just being in the moment and being your full self in whatever it is you're doing, versus when is it important and a good practice to do before something you're like stressed about or interested in. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really deep question because in a way it's like how we've talked about, I'm going to think about all these things and manifest, but there's no action behind it. Like that doesn't work. We need both. However, there's been times when I've put no action into things that I completely manifested and I'm shocked. So I don't, that's a hard way to answer it. You know, one time I remember as Kinley was talking, we wanted a bulldog, but my husband and I, but we couldn't afford a bulldog. They're expensive. And so I ripped out a magazine page of bulldogs in the back of a truck, and it was on Life magazine, and it had been on my fridge at our cabin, like behind a magnet for years.
Like,
and I didn't
so
even,
long.
I didn't even realize until I looked over at my bulldog one day and then looked at the picture, literally the exact markings and everything of our bulldog Marley. And I thought, that is amazing. I didn't even know. Same thing when I wanted to go to Bora Bora and we were first married and we couldn't afford food or basic things. And then I put a postcard of the huts over the water at Bora Bora. And I remember walking on down the pathway to my hut and looking out and realizing I'm in my postcard. Now, there wasn't a direct ABC journaling all the things, which maybe could have helped, but there was an intention and a desire. And this is my spiritual side. I believe that if we want something, I think that there are seen and unseen forces that are trying to help us get there. And so writing it, speaking it, knowing what we want is probably one of the biggest things, because if we don't know what we want,
it's hard to
you're
know
not
what
gonna
you
get
want.
it.
Yeah. At least for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah,
but
no.
Yeah.
Did you have something to share about that?
I was just,
I do.
bouncing off.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's interesting because we're like, oh, maybe a step by step would help, but like, I feel like it hurts. It can hurt because we
Sometimes
get
it hurts
so
me.
in our logic that we like don't just trust and let go. Where in my manifestation coach, she says, write it and forget it. Because if you're sitting there focusing on the how, you're in your logic and you're not like open to another possibility of how, because it almost always shows up completely sideways, not how you expect, where if you were so focused on like making it happen
In the way that it, like
you
step
wouldn't,
1, 2, 3.
you wouldn't be open to, oh, it could have been easier than I was making it, you know?
So that begs the question for me, at least. So if the science tells us that mental rehearsal can actually have same outcomes as actually doing the thing versus let it go and let it be if we know what we want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. What do you think?
I feel like it's both. Like, what's your intention? Are you wanting to like sit in the feeling? Because I think that doesn't do any damage to sit and like imagine having it, because that's only going to raise your vibration to then believe that it's absolutely coming to me. So then it does, because you're going to walk as if you already have it, which means you're going to make decisions as if you already have it, which means you're going to have it. I don't know if that was answering the question. What was the question?
Absolutely.
I actually have a thought to this. I almost think we're dividing the conversation, not in a bad way. There's like multiple routes to go, where one is talking about like things that could happen in the future if you're visualizing it and happening or having it happen. The other is like concrete, hey, this thing is happening and I have to prepare for it. So how can I help myself prepare for it? Because I actually heard that one of the, and maybe, I mean, you would know more than I would about this, but one of the best things that athletes do is actually prepare for when they mess up, because you're always going to mess up. So it's like, how do you prepare for not like expecting you to fail, but knowing that, hey, if I miss the free throw, how can I visualize coming back from that with my energy, and what would I do right after that point? Like, how can I
Absolutely.
come back?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I've worked with athletes before in the past, that's one of the big things that always comes up is like, oh, I hit this wall. I can't get through it. I was so on the game and I was able to perform and I was hitting the goals over and over and over again in this specific case. And then all of a sudden something happened. I'm off my game. What do I do? And so the talk became, okay, when that happens, what are you saying to yourself? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
How are you getting ready for next time that happens? Because you're exactly right. Like if we're just imagining, it's good to imagine the ultimate shot or goal or whatever, but also to imagine and to mental rehearse, how do I come back from that? What do I do? Do I let it take over my whole career or my, in business, you can think about performance. And if some deal falls through and all of a sudden your business is down by lots of money and you're trying to stay in business,
Like,
how do you
yeah.
respond to that and preparing for that and saying, this might happen. And if it does, this is the way I'm going to work through it is absolutely mental rehearsal for resilience.
I think this is so important because, like, I feel like I will shut it off, be like, it didn't work. Like, I'll try to be resilient, but then if I choose to do the mental path of I'm a failure and the low vibrational thoughts, then it's like, then I shut it off and I don't try again, and that's not going to get anyone anywhere. Not that I always do that, but it's in my head. Like the sad thoughts, the I am a failure are in my head. So I feel like you are like the perfect example of the resilient side of it and choosing your thought process over just like spiraling and letting your thoughts take over.
Thank you. It takes practice. I always talk about Simone Biles because I love her.
Yeah.
But imagine if when she chose to leave the Olympics, she's like, that's it. My career's over. I'm never going to come back. I mean, she wouldn't have. But she went back and did the hard work and was like, that was happening. This is where I'm going. And she got back on track and she reemerged to win more medals. It's really awesome.
Yeah, she probably had a vision of like,
Absolutely.
I will be back.
She had to
Not this is
be
the
thinking
end.
about it. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She had
Which
to
is
prepare.
visualization.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What were you going to say, Brighton?
No, I think I was just listening. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of laugh, and I wasn't even planning on talking about this, but I think this is kind of the ultimate. People ask me, how did you run a marathon without training? And once again, I'm not condoning it, but I think it fits in here well because my brother that like trained and ran way faster than me and was ready, performed and did so awesome. But I had a friend once say to me, well, whether you trained and you finished a marathon or you didn't train and finished a marathon, both are impressive.
True. That's so true.
So I have to reflect on that and I have to say, okay, so what got me there? Literally every day for months, I was visualizing, what is this going to look like? What am I going to do to survive? I'm not going to be ready physically. So I had to imagine stopping at every stop to get my drinks of water or my Gatorade or whatever they're giving me. I had to imagine pulling out my goos and my chews every time I got to a table at a thing. I had to imagine on my watch, Brighton, the watch you're wearing that I gave you actually, is like, I'm going to run 3 minutes and I'm going to walk 1 minute for over 5 hours. And I just visualized that over and over and over and mentally rehearsed what that looked like so that when I got there, there was no other option. This was the plan. I knew it was the only way I could finish. And then when I had the chance, the other thing that got me through was being in New York with tons of amazing people cheering for the runners and looking around and saying, this person is running the whole marathon backwards because there's something wrong with their legs. That is amazing. If they can do it, I can do it. And then I would run some more and I would look over and say, that person's blind. It would say on their shirt, low vision. They would be holding onto other people running the marathon. Oh my gosh, if that person can do it, I can do it. I didn't even know about my eyesight yet, lost. And then I would look and say, here's these team, they're running together. One is younger, one is older. It is, people will write their names on the shirt. I am Janae, I didn't do this. And people from the sidelines would say, go Janae, go, go, go. And they would cheer for you. It's literally, that experience was one of the most amazing experiences, like literally up in my top 5 of like human determination. And I did not win the race as far as the length of time, but I won because I finished and because I followed what I had visually prepared for and mentally rehearsed for so long. I won. And I will never do it again. I don't plan on doing it again.
I
But the
wanna do it
lessons
so
that I
bad.
learned will last a lifetime about visualization and being mentally preparing for something.
Yeah.
You want to try it, Brighton?
I want to so bad. I actually I don't even know if you know this. I reached out to like so many charities to try and run for mental health at the New York City Marathon because I want to so bad. But actually, a lady responded and she was like, "Oh, I wish I would have seen this earlier. Like, I actually think I could have gotten it." So I'm gonna try next year, I think. But I love that. I've heard it's one of the best experiences ever is the New York City Marathon. Like,
It really
above
is.
so many
The
other things.
people, and it was after I was supposed to run in 2020 and it was canceled. And so it was 2021. And the biggest reason I did it in the first place is because my brother has type 1 diabetes. And my biggest goal when I was a kid, talk about manifesting early on, was to cure type 1 diabetes. And I wasn't able to do that, but I wrote about it in papers in my elementary class. And so eventually down the road when we were like, I'm not qualifying to get to the race. I've got to find another way. My brother and I decided we're going to run this together. And we ran for, Jocelyn was the organization that sponsored us. And we ran together to fight or raise awareness about juvenile diabetes. And it was a why, right? We talk about awareness and our why and where are we going, for what reason. It's so important because if we don't know those things, we're not going to run the marathon or we're not going to fundraise. His biggest thing was, Janae, I'm fine running the marathon. I don't want to fundraise. And he had to really work through some things to do that. And so both of us, we broke through barriers with the preparation. The preparation is really the key.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have something?
Go for it.
I have a clip, but also I could cut this out. What time are we at? Just so.
We're at 27 minutes.
Okay, I have a clip that I think you guys would love so much. I don't know how to share it on here. I could put it on the screen, but for you guys to both see it, I don't know. It's like
Show us right here.
it's it's like literally 10 seconds long, but this clip is of the Blue Angels. Do you know who they are? They're like the pilots that will fly so close together. You have to be so precise and like such a good pilot to be able to fly close together and like literally not run
Stay in
into each other.
formation.
Yeah. Let me see if I have it. I really hope so. Mom, what is this? Oh, 23. Okay. Please.
I have it right here.
You do? Mom, I want to show maybe you guys both watch it together at the same time.
Yeah, hand it to Mom and I'll
Okay.
look at it on here.
Vertical 5-5. Easing more power. Smoke up, push, go. Diamond stinger.
Right, jump. Tootsie, back.
Vertical 5-5. Up we go. Ease the pull. Rolling out. The loop break. Smoke up, push. Airspeed call. Horizon 7-5 easing power idle. Mile and a half. Mark.
You can end it, but yeah.
He even taps with his hand because he's physically preparing about when he hits parts of the airplane in the
That's
dash.
really cool.
That is so cool.
Right? So I just want to explain for the listener that's not watching on video.
You're probably like, what the heck did I just go? What are you doing?
Yes. So basically the Blue Angels are all sitting in this living room or like conference room. They're all sitting they're all closing their eyes and acting as if they're sitting in the pilot's seat. And then their hands are physically moving, touching these imaginary buttons and like droid, whatever, like the stick thing. And the commander's like telling them what to do. And they're all doing it like in sync together. But I read the description. And it was just like, this is one of the most important exercises that we do to be in sync. And we don't even have to be like on the plane, but it was all about visualization. So I was like, you have to watch it. It's so cool.
That's so cool.
I mean, talk about precise and talking about mental rehearsal. That is the coolest thing ever, to watch them in real time figure out how to make the hand movements. So like you said, stay in formations when you're flying jets. I mean, they're in jets, right?
Yeah, like
you're going fast.
Whatever it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's so cool. I'm so glad you shared that.
Thanks.
It's funny. Cam and I are planning a trip. And on the trip, I really want to do the scary hike. And he's scared too. It's a very high up hike. And I am terrified of heights. And so he's like, are you sure you want to do it? And I was like, yes, I'm preparing. And he's like, you are? And I'm like, mentally. Like, no,
true,
I'm
though.
not hiking a mountain
Yeah.
daily, but I am definitely like, and when I step on that step, what am I going to do? And like, I know both are important, but for me, that right now is more important than anything else, because if I can like keep my mind calm in a scary situation, then I'll be okay.
You know what?
Yeah, I love that.
Maybe I would invite the listener, because I know that I have things that I was thinking about as you were telling what you're preparing for. So like I would invite the listener to prepare for the scary things that you know are going to happen in life, or the hard things that you know are going to happen, whether it's a conversation or for me, and I hate like speaking it into existence because I don't want to like say that I am, but we're going on like a big European trip, and I've never been on that long of a plane ride, and oh my gosh, I like can feel the fear and I don't want to feel it, but I definitely am wanting to start like visualizing like, hey, I'm going to feel excitement.
Or I'm going to feel fear.
Yeah.
Fear is going to be present probably. And this is
Probably.
what I'm going to do when I feel fear.
When I feel fear, and if I can turn that into excitement for the trip that I'm
When
so
I
excited
turn that
for.
excitement for
Yeah.
the trip, not if.
True. Actually, good point. Like
Mhm.
when I feel the fear, I can turn it into excitement or do something else that makes me
Yeah.
feel good or whatever. So I just want the listener to know like these are tools that aren't just about doing crazy things in your life, but it's like all the little things that are hard that you can use to make your life a better.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it way back and say, I don't think I've shared this on the podcast, but when Kinley was little, she was mischievous. She still is. It's fine. But it was my first experience with parenting and saying no. And I didn't want to be the mom that was always saying no to everything. And she would climb towards a plant, my favorite plant. I only had money for one plant. I think somebody gave it to me. I don't even remember. But she would look at me and crawl as fast as she could towards the plant, grab a handful and look at me, and then throw it on the ground. And I would say, Kinley, and I was saying no, and it was like a game, right? I think you were having a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so she kept doing it, but I'm like, I'm saying no like all day long. I don't want to say no. I want to save the no for the things that I need to say no for, right? And so I decided to say, play with something else, please. And so instead of like saying no, I just started replacing the object. So it's actually child development, object permanence. Like, so when you're young, it's harder for a kid to remember, I was playing with something else and now it's this, because they're just playing. And so I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time, but I was just said, play with something else, please. And I would replace it with another game, and you were equally as happy. So instead of me focusing on that, I would mentally rehearse, when Kinley does this, I'm going to respond in this way because there's a better outcome in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can use it for anything as small or as big as you want to. Kinley still loves plants and trees. It's fine.
No, I love taunting people.
She's still, that is, and that is one thing from a mom down the road of 7 kids is like, you can see the tendencies of the kid when they're little and you don't realize, and they manifest in different ways when they're older, but they're there. They are who they are when they come.
That's funny.
I have a thought.
Yeah.
I think that as a listener who's never done visualization, well, one, if you didn't skip the beginning of the episode, you did a visualization. But if you did skip it, like we're talking about it, it's so good for you, all these things, but like where would someone start with visualization?
I think, and you guys jump in with what you think, I think people are doing it without maybe even realize they're doing it.
So true.
Because it's just kind of a natural tendency if we let it be. So I would try to say, reflect back on a time you wanted something and it wasn't happening and you made it happen. You had to have some thought process in that moment of like, it's not working, I'm going to shift. You are visualizing the shift. And so trying to pull that into a current situation and what that look like for you, I think could be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually, so true. That's like such a good answer to that question, because I was also thinking like, okay, when would I be visualizing without me realizing? Well, one of the times is think back to like an argument or something that you've had, and then later on you're like, oh, I should have said this, or a conversation, and you're like reminiscing or thinking back to it. Like in a way, that's how your brain is visualizing something. Obviously, you're not like doing it on purpose and you're not thinking about your goals and stuff, but like it's true. Humans are visualizing or coming up with all these narratives in their head all the time. You just should use that energy for good things or like to manifest things instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, channeling that. I love that though, because it's so true. It's like we know how to do it. We don't realize that that's what it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And
Gosh.
is it in ahead of time or is it in hashing out? Do you know what I mean? Ruminating.
Yeah.
Like you're saying. So how do we use the energy? I love that.
Both your answers are so good. I didn't have an answer when I asked, but I have an answer. Just a thought, like a tip. What was my tip? Oh, I think that sometimes when we think about meditation, it's like, okay, what do I do? Like, I have to sit here and meditate. Like, we don't really know how to do it on our own. And if you're feeling like, I want to visualize, but I don't know where to start, then do a guided visualization because
Yeah.
they're all over YouTube. There's an app called Insight Timer, and you can look for guided visualizations, and it's free. And someone will talk you through, just like I did at the beginning of this, a visualization, and that can help you without having to like get into your logical brain of what should I be thinking next. It's like
So true.
someone's talking you through it.
Yeah, that helps me actually still all the time. Like, because
Me too.
again, I can ruminate too much. I'm like, well, it needs to be like something like this or whatever.
Why did my brain go there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great tip. I love
Yeah.
that.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, we have our freebie on where is
Mind,
it?
body, soul. We'll link it in the description below.
Linked in the description below. I would just challenge you to be thinking of what you want to mentally rehearse, what you want to visualize so that you can become the person that you want to be that brings you the most joy. And we'd love to hear if you have any experiences where this has worked for you or hasn't worked for you. Let us know so we can talk more about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.